Do you like making art? And more importantly, do you like money? Well, I have good news for you. I'm announcing my first ever emote contest. The rules are on screen now, but the gist of it is, I want more emotes to use. I'll select 2 winners, pay them for their emotes, and credit them on Twitch and YouTube. Submissions close at the end of February, so make sure to get your work in fast. Best of luck to all you talented artists out there, and let's get into the video. Hello everybody, my name is Christian, and with another update around the corner, it's time to talk about who you should pull in version 4.0 of Honkai Star Rail. Man, it feels so good to finally be able to say that. You all have no idea. This is the first time I've done one of these videos for the start of a version too, so this is an extra special occasion for me. With 4.0 comes the arrival of Plan Arcadia, home of whimsy, clout chasers, and probably everything else people hate about Gen Z. With the start of this version comes 2 new characters, being the unseen general of the Xianzhou Alliance, Yao Guang, and the influencer who definitely didn't say anything at that bridge in PUBG, Sparksy. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, become a member down below, and with that said, let's get into it. Let's pause real quick and take a brief word from our sponsor, LDS Shop. With so many good characters coming out soon, many players simply don't have the jades they need to get them all. Now, if only there was a cheaper way to get top-ups for games like Star Rail and ZZZ. Well, that's where the sponsor of the video comes in, LDS Shop. LDS Shop is a safe and reliable top-up site for all your favorite games. They offer top-ups at a more affordable price than in-game, and can even activate your first top-up bonus if you haven't used it already. All you have to do is click the bundle you want, put in your server and UID, and your top-up will appear in-game shortly after. If you buy using my link as well, you can get a 5% and 15% coupon good for $50. Last but not least, if you consistently use LDS Shop and spend over $80 for the month, you can get an express supply pass completely free on your homepage. Use the link in the description or the pinned comment. Thank you so much to LDS Shop for sponsoring. Let's get back to the video. So before we talk about the available banners, version 4.0 is giving us a little bonus. We'll be receiving a selector for one of 7 5-star characters. There will be a video about this concept as well, but to summarize the best I can, pick Sparkle. Anyway, moving on. This selector is pretty nice, giving you an opportunity to get characters who haven't run in a while if you're a collector. Or, you could also pick up some future buff targets? Right? You're gonna buff Jing Yuan, right, Hoyo? Please. Also keep in mind, we have received the new drip marketing at this point, so if any of those characters look intriguing to you, I would still recommend saving for them instead. Now, with that said, let's finally move on to our current banners. We start with another seer for the Xianzhou, and the woman with some of the best fashion in HSR, Yao Guang. Yao Guang is a 5-star physical elation character, and will be our first chance to dip into the elation path without an MC form currently available. I think before getting hardcore into how her kit works, let's maybe go through a quick explanation of how elation works. This is going to be pretty important because, dear God in heaven above, there is a lot going on here. This mechanic is insane, and it seems like it's already really broken, and it seems like it's gonna get even more broken as it progresses further. So the way this works is essentially, Aha is always watching you. Aha will actively participate in battles featuring characters from the Path of Elation, or shockingly, some enemies can also make Aha appear. When Aha is present, your team will gain something called punchlines. These are a stat that increase the strength of a new ability type, elation skills. The more punchlines you have, the stronger your character's elation skills will be, and the certified banger state you receive after Aha triggers these skills will be stronger as well. Jesus Christ, I'm reading this as I'm looking at this script right now. Feels like torture. What did I just say? All in all, a very unique mechanic that does unfortunately seem to benefit mono elation over everything else. As you can see from watching the trailers, Yao Guang and Sparksy are different character archetypes entirely. Elation will likely follow in Remembrance's footsteps, being a path with no defined limits. No matter how you feel about this, that'll be the reality, so best to prepare for it now. With elation skills explained, let's move on to Yao Guang's skill set. Yao Guang seems to be an elation generator. Imagine it in the same way as Tribby for the Herda, but also you're powering an Aeon the whole damn time. With basic attack, Yao Guang can hit up to 3 enemies and regenerate additional energy for herself. The true intrigue of her starts with her skill, Decalite Unveils All. This grants a 3-turn buff for you and your teammates, while also granting you additional punchlines. Reminder, You need these to empower Aha and your relation skills, so more is always a benefit. Next up is her ultimate, Hexagram of Feathered Fortune. Absolutely incredible name, and its effect is just as nice. You gain a buff for your allies, probably being some sort of damage, percent, or res pen boost. You gain 5 punchline, and you automatically trigger an Aha instant. What? So that powerful thing that lets your characters use their relation skills and all that, Yao Guang can just trigger another one of those with her ultimate. That is fantastic, and will likely be an incredibly potent damage boost for the entirety of Elation's cast. This ultimate is amazing, and with that in mind, all of her official information has still yet to be revealed. Her major traces will likely boost her a pretty heavy amount, and will probably have her as the lead support slot for every Elation team going forward. If you are someone who wants to hit the ground running with Elation, keep this in mind, as I would not be at all shocked to see Yao Guang be a staple for much of this update. One last thing, I want to talk about Yao Guang's Elation skill real quick. While only briefly showed off, we do know it'll do damage, recover a skill point apparently, and it increases the damage taken by enemies. Overall, a massive boost for Elation teams, or really any team that you can use her on. Yao Guang will serve as a very strong start to version 4.0, and if you aren't sure about her, she also runs the entirety of version 4.0. This will give you plenty of time to see if you want to invest or not. You should pull Yao Guang if you want to get in on the ground floor of Elation. You know there will be a heavy focus on this for version 4.0, and she is likely to be a great benefit almost immediately. At the very least, I would say look into getting her, unless none of our currently known characters interest you much. There's always reruns if you end up needing her in the future. With Yao Guang covered, let's now talk about the reruns we have available. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it! This is a horrible timeline for me. So for the reruns during this period, there will be Evernight, Hysilenskisser, and the new and improved Black Swan. 2 of these characters belong to DOT, and Evernight is one of the best low-cost DPS in the game in my opinion. All of these are phenomenal picks, and honestly, it's probably going to be a bit hard to choose from. Let's break it down starting with Evernight. Evernight is an Ice Remembrance character released in version 3.6. She serves as a main DPS sub-DPS hybrid, and is genuinely such an incredible character. With an optimal team beside her, she has the same potential as Castress, if not higher. If you use them both in the same team, that's amazing as well. Evernight has a lot of mechanics to talk about, but we got a video to keep moving, so I'll cover the essentials. Evernight's Memo Sprite is Eevee. Eevee and Evernight generate stacks of Memoria, an Evernight exclusive mechanic that will increase damage and speed. When you have at least 16 stacks of Memoria with Eevee on the field, Eevee will action advance 100% and detonate, doing massive AoE damage. Evernight can enhance all of her abilities even further when she uses her ultimate. This ultimate grants Evernight the Darkest Riddle state, which increases damage taken, damage dealt, and greatly improves Eevee's damage while granting more Memoria at the same time. This state is a massive boost for Evernight, and is a priority to keep active as much as you can to maximize your damage output. There are a lot of interesting notes I missed, like how Evernight can regen energy from allies, or you can action advance her past Eevee to increase her Memoria even more, but overall, that's what you need to know about Evernight. She's incredibly powerful, and I would say pretty free-to-play friendly. If you want to invest, Hyacinth and her cone should be more than enough to keep her competitive in the meta for a while. If you couldn't tell, Evernight is a personal favorite character of mine, and with her unique and powerful kit, it's very well earned. You should pull Evernight if you want a powerful DPS without too much investment. If you are someone who already has Hyacinth, Evernight is going to be a phenomenal pickup for you without a single shadow of a doubt. Similarly, if you hate Hyacinth, Evernight is still powerful, and she can still excel with other teammates alongside her. With one of her best teammates in RMC also being totally free, it's safe to say Evernight is still a great option to pick up for any player in need of a DPS. The next 2 characters on the list are honestly a combo deal in my opinion, so I'm going to talk about both of them together. Hysilenskisser and Black Swan are both DOT characters, being released in version 3.5 and 2.0 respectively. God, 2.0 was a while ago. Oh, I'm getting old, chat. Both of these characters excel at stacking DOT conditions and increasing the damage of your DOT team overall, lowering defense and inflicting vulnerability on all targets. Hysilenskisser specifically is much stronger at stacking DOT, whereas the new Black Swan is better at increasing damage taken and stacking debuffs. With that in mind, This is still a match made in heaven when paired with Kafka to detonate. Black Swan specifically will also likely see a bit more usage outside of these teams due to the HSR devs overhauling her and giving her a great damage boost for your team to take advantage of. I personally love DOT a lot, so I'm really trying to hype it up, but it's certainly not without fault. Hysilen's is by far the better character, and if you prefer Black Swan, you're actually at such a massive disadvantage, it's not worth using the DOT team usually. You also really want Kafka or Cyrene to pair with your Hysilen's, or once again, your team will be extremely weak compared to many others. It's a sad reality, but this is one of the teams that most relies on having all the characters. Luckily, with the character selector coming this update, you can grab Kafka and get the first part in your DOT team. There's never been a better time to invest with that golden opportunity, so think long and hard about if you want to take the dive. You should pull Hysilen's if you have Kafka or Cyrene. Similarly, if you're willing to invest in getting them, you should pull Black Swan if you already have Hysilen's and Kafka and want, more than likely, the best option for that team going forward. With those three knocked out, let's move on to the 4-stars and light cones available on the banners. I usually neglect to talk about 4-star options nowadays since we get nothing new and most 4-stars are heavily outdated, but we do have a little something nice available for the banners. Available on these banners is Pela, an Ice Nihility 4-star who shreds defense, and Resolution shines as Pearls of Sweat, a light cone that decreases enemy defense and is a phenomenal light cone for all Nihility debuffers. These are both great pickups, and for those of you who got Dahlia and Fugue in 3.8, Res Shines is a great light cone for both of them. Outside of that, we have Hanya and Xingshui also available with 2 other light cones that are painfully mediocre. Sorry to my obscure character fans out there, today is not your day. This brings us to the second half of the version where Yao Guang will still be available, but we also get the first true Elation DPS character, Sparksy. Sparksy is a Fire Elation 5-star, and oh man, there is a lot going on here. And I'm not just talking about outfit-wise. Sparksy as an Elation DPS has an Elation skill available to her, as well as all the usual parts of her kit. She's also still Sparkle at the end of the day, so she has a heavy emphasis on skill point. This brings us to her skill, Boom Sparksicles Poppin'. What did I just say? This is an enhance that gives her a stronger basic attack called Bloom, Winner Takes All. This basic attack can be enhanced for every skill point you use with a fairly high limit seemingly. You can gain Punchline when doing this as well, which is a nice little cherry on top for your AHA instant damage. When you unleash your enhanced basic attack, it does massive damage, and during the process of increasing its strength, you also have a chance to earn some SP back? Seriously, what are these characters, man? The SP gain here is ridiculous, and is going to make Sparksy an absolute machine alongside Yao Guang. Let's move on to her Elation skill now, which is just a massive amount of damage. There you go, enjoy the fireworks. Sparksy is overall an incredibly powerful DPS character, built to suck down skill points to obliterate the enemies, while also rewarding you for having more SP to play with by giving refunds and additional punchlines. This design is solid, and can lend itself well to being a main DPS, or maybe even a sub-DPS for a character that relies on basic attacking. I know that sounds insane, but hey, let me cook here. I think it could be extremely unique, and if anything is gonna do it, it's probably gonna be the Elation path. You should pull Sparksy if you want to get in on the ground floor of Elation, the same reasoning as Yao Guang. I will say for me personally, I would rather pick up Yao Guang over Sparksy. A support moveset is very hard to ever make useless, and her longevity as a result of that will probably be rather high. If you just want to make use of Sparksy, however, grabbing a free Sparkle from the character selector should do wonders for you, giving you a great combo out the gate for 4.0. Next up are the rerun banners, and we've got one of the weirdest assortment of characters I've ever seen. We've got Ceredra, Sparkle, and Rappa? Hey, Rappa, I think you missed your cue for the break patch. Poor girl. She got just as lost as Acheron. I'd like to start with Sparkle for this section for one simple reason. She has the chance to be free, and that is unbelievably valuable. She's going to be insanely good going into the future, so picking her up now may be a wise choice. Let's actually get into her skill set. Sparkle is a Quantum Harmony 5-star, released in version 2.0. She is an action advancer like Sunday, Bronya, and RMC, with one key distinction in her moveset. She doesn't have a 100% action advance. This has always been weird to me to say the least, but I do understand the reason why is because she can advance fellow Harmony units. People always get mad at me for not knowing this, by the way. I know this! I just think it's silly, but whatever, we keep moving. So she can action advance allies 50% and give a massive crit damage bonus to whoever she advanced. This buff now lasts for 2 turns as well, which is absolutely awesome, catching her up to some of the other options in terms of skill length. Her ultimate has been buffed as well to regenerate an additional 2 skill points, taking the total to 6 whole skill points. The overcap has been eliminated as well, with Sparkle now holding onto them in a storage basically. As a shock to no one, seems to be a pretty good buff for specifically Sparksy. Wonder what was happening there. Anyway, the last buff remaining is thanks to presumably a major trace being buffed. Sparkle can sometimes action advance her allies and not use a skill point. Even more food for the glutton that is Sparksy, chat. We love to see it. You should pull Sparkle if you want a good character. She is by far the best character available on the selector and will once again be completely free without pulling. The only situation I think you shouldn't pull her in is if you want to invest into DOT. Otherwise, get yourself a free Sparkle, gamers. Enjoy the wonderful buffs. Next up for our reruns is Ceredra, the Chrysos heir of Law, and one of our numerous lesbian icons in HSR. Ceredra is a Wind Harmony 5-star that was released in version 3.5. Ceredra has a niche that is completely unlike anything else in this game. She has the ability to increase skill damage and duplicate a character's skill, meaning the attack will go off twice. She does this with her unique status, Military Merit. This status needs 6 charges to change into Peerage, which will allow you to trigger a skill attack twice. No one in HSR can do this besides her, and despite how niche this is, her best characters are insanely good with her specifically. The Mighty Cyrene combo, alongside Phynon and Anexa, all love Ceredra, and she is a massive power boost for all of them within those best teams. I kinda wish there was more to talk about, but Ceredra is a pretty one-track character. Ultimate increases the charges of Military Merit, skill can grant another charge whenever it's used, and basic attack is just a basic attack. Nothing too fascinating, but an incredible character overall for her best teams. You should pull Ceredra if you own Anexa or Phynon, or if you have a low Eidolon Mighty team. She is almost essential to making any of these characters their best selves, so hyper-focus on getting her for them if you can. Without any of these characters, she's a pretty reasonable skip in almost every other scenario. The final character for our rerun talks, we have the rapping, brain rot slinging ninja, Rappa. Rappa is an imaginary erudition 5-star released in version 2.6, with this being her first ever rerun. Yikes. At least she's not Argenti, I suppose. Rappa is similar to the other characters in that she really needs the Dahlia to function at her best, so please keep that in mind as I talk about her. Rappa as an erudition character excels at dealing damage with big groups of enemies, and all of this damage is done with her enhanced basic attack granted from her ultimate. This powerful 3-hit burst can break through anything, and can do massive damage when breaking weakness bars. Rappa definitely does most of her damage by achieving breaks similar to Boothill, so syncing up this attack with breaking is pretty damn important overall. The biggest note about Rappa is if you want her, please get her Light Cone. She is such a different character with it equipped, it's not even funny. Granting energy and a pretty healthy action advance, definitely something to look out for when deciding if you want Rappa. You should pull Rappa if you have no other break characters and you want one. Pulling her for pure fiction is also valid, but truth be told, I think Rappa is pretty mid, all things considered. And it's funny because she's still a good character, but Dahlia being handmade for Firefly puts her at a severe disadvantage, even compared to Boothill. Her being AoE is her one saving grace, but players with E1 Fugue, Dahlia, and Himiko should still be able to keep up all the same. Sorry to all my Rappa fans out there, but hey, your character is still pretty damn good at least. And there we go. That was a fun look through the banners. Lots of good stuff coming up overall for new and old players. For old players especially though, this is a key time to get Eidolons and invest more in your current teams. The Elation meta won't fully kick in, so preparing your favorite teams is gonna do a lot. As per usual with my investment sections, we're gonna go through the characters in order and I'll tell you how beneficial an Eidolon or Light Cone would really be. You ready? Let's start then with Evernight. Evernight's light cone gives a fantastic quality of life in my opinion, so I would prioritize that personally. If you already have it, E1 of her is in fact a massive boost for her on her own, and if you have a mono remembrance team. Her E2 is the truly broken Eidolon though, so if you see yourself using Evernight for a long time, investing now would be wise. In either of those scenarios, her investment is going to be absolutely worth it. Next up is Hysilent. Her E1 is absolutely broken, being one of the highest single jumps in between Eidolon levels in the game. This is so powerful, it is highly recommended over her Light Cone and over Black Swan especially. You should really only be going for this if you have a complete DOT team, but overall, you cannot go wrong with having this be the Eidolon you grab. Black Swan is actually in a similar spot to Hysilent, surprisingly. She has an absolutely amazing E1 for DOT damage that is probably more beneficial than her Light Cone by a fair bit. If you have everything else you want on your DOT team, this is a great pickup that'll have pretty solid value. Moving on to Ceredra, her E1 is pretty great, offering defense shred and energy for the target of her skill. This is helpful for all of her main characters, so it's absolutely worth looking into. I do personally like her Light Cone a lot as it gives an SP refund that's pretty helpful, but overall, if you're just picking one though, I would say go for E1. I already said it previously, get Rappa's Light Cone for the love of God. Her E1 is great too, regenerating energy and granting defense shred, but I really do think you should get the Light Cone first. Action Advance is amazing, and you get an ult almost immediately, which is huge. Last but not least is Sparkle. Her Light Cone is pretty mediocre, so focusing her Eidolons is a great idea. You can get a free Sparkle too, so if you already have her, that E1 is all yours. It also brings you closer to her incredible E2, giving you about 28% defense shred on your action advance target. Sparkle has some of the best Eidolons for support characters in my opinion, so investing into her in her buff form is going to be a choice that you will not regret. And with that, we are all done for today. I apologize if I sounded weird, or if this wasn't really my best voice performance. I wrote this whole thing while dealing with a stomach virus, and I also recorded this whole thing while dealing with a stomach virus. So I hope everything was okay, chat. I really appreciate you all watching, and if you have any further questions, leave them in the comments below or join our Discord to ask there. I've got plenty more good videos coming out soon, so I will see you guys then. Bye-bye!